Welcome back to Financial Strategies with Andrew Adjemi in Connecticut and Daniel Adjemi in Colorado.
I heard a story the other day. It's an advisor that I know, and he was telling this story, something, Dad, that you are very familiar with because you kind of did the same thing many years ago.
Yeah.
But he told the story in a way that made a lot of sense. And the story goes like this. In 2007, this advisor was with one of these big box name companies. He was doing quite well. He wasn't the best of the best, but he wasn't the bottom. And they very much appreciated him. Well, he started studying and studying and studying, and he realized that markets were in a really bad spot in 2007. And he said, I want to take my client's money and put it in cash because I see this thing that's about to happen. He wasn't so sure that he was ready to short stuff, but he knew that there was problems going on in the markets. The problem was he was just about to meet this revenue goal where he gets locked into this company and he's set. Financially, he'd be set. And the way the revenues work, it's not how much money you make for your clients, it's how much money you make for the firm. And by him taking his money, his client's money, putting it in the cash, there'd be no revenue for the firm, the big box firm that he worked for. So he went to his boss and he said, I really see this thing happening. It's in the best interest of my clients that I move their money into cash, but I'm not going to meet my revenue targets so I can get locked in. I can be set for life with you guys. If I do that, can we just put this on hold for 1 year and then start up again next year once we go back into the markets? And the boss said no. And he quickly realized that every firm, every one of these big box firms was the same. He couldn't just go over to another firm like Merrill Lynch or go over to one of these other things. And so he had a very difficult decision to make. He had to decide if he was going to go independent and start his own firm, which was very difficult to do, and it was going to cost him personally a lot of money, or if he was going to stay and be set, but not do what he knew was in the best interests of his clients. I'm Daniel Adjemi.
And I'm Andrew Adjemi, and you're listening to Financial Strategies. And today's topic is the new invisible tax. And we welcome you back to this segment. And I can tell that already that this segment's going to go by real fast. But anyway, the thing here is that there's, besides the invisible tax of inflation, you have to, and being prepared for that is contingent upon who your financial advisor is. Now, sometimes that's yourself because you're a do-it-yourselfer, and sometimes that's people that you actually are paying or having you do your work for you. And this story that you're telling, Daniel, is not a story, right? It's a true event, and I've seen this happen. That's one of the things that I'm pretty proud of myself is that, I used to be with a big name company and it had worked pretty well for a period of time. And then knew that the time to part ways with that big name company came about, and went off to do what was in the best interest of my clients. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen enough. For you and our listening audience, this thing that Daniel's talking about is the whole idea, of the conflict of interest that is happening in the financial industry. That's why this whole big push on fiduciaries and being a fiduciary came about. But with the word fiduciary, you have to find out, well, who are you fiduciary for? The people that Daniel is talking about, and the example that he gave, this advisor was a fiduciary for the company. And because the president of the company is a fiduciary for the stockholders. And so everybody that works for the company works for the president, has to do what's in the best interest of the stockholders more than what's in the best interest of the account holders. And so in this case, the rest of the story here is that this gentleman went and opened up his own independent RIA so he could do what was in the best interest of advisors. And likewise, so did we do that same thing to be able to do what's in the best interest of our account holders so that we could make sure that they were taken care of. And this is why we bring you Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Adjemi, because people don't know what people don't know. Many times you're not going to be told this by these big name box companies and so forth, because sometimes the person you're speaking to doesn't know. Certainly there are people smart enough in their company, smarter than us in those companies, but sometimes they don't let that information down to the advisor level. And sometimes advisors know it, but they also know that, that if they say anything, that it could mean their jobs from that standpoint. And that is problematic, because then there's that conflict of interest that's there. So, Daniel, I'm reminded of that story that you told me, but I say I need to let you know in our listening audience, you're listening to Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Adjemi. And today we're giving away the piece that go along with today's show, Signs That You're With the Wrong Financial Advisor. And we'd like to get you, put that in your hands, and you can have that by calling 800-725-7616, 800-725-7616. 16. Daniel, you were telling us that story, and earlier when you and I were talking, you had talked about how you had interaction with a bunch of different advisors from different firms, and how about if you reiterate that for our listening audience here?
Yeah, well, retirees, investors, they don't want average advice. They don't want an average advisor, and
right.
They don't want average investments. Now, most people get average because that's why it's average, right? Everyone can't be better than average.
Right.
So there's two things happening. One is the average are able to get jobs at these firms, and as they grow and they grow and they grow and they learn, they become better than average advisors, and they start giving better advice, unless there's a conflict of interest.
Right.
And you would like to think that with these firms that they would still give the best advice, right?
Right.
Well, the story you're talking about is when I was at Columbia University studying and becoming a better advisor, right? Learning more about these kinds of things. I was talking to very, very intelligent, very, very good advisors who were managing billions of dollars. And I would ask them, why don't you leave the firms with you are? You just told me that you're having this thing where you want to do this, but you can't because of this. You can't say you're a fiduciary. You can't do these. Why are you still with them? And they would say things like, well, I'd have to come up with hundreds of $1,000s to buy out of the company, or it's too difficult to run an independent firm, or, I don't even know how to start, right? I don't even know how to start that. I like the advice. I like the research that I get from these firms, but all of that is not structured for the individual, right? That's not structured for that retiree that wants the best advice. That's all regurgitated information that has come down the ranks, come down.
That's right.
And that's why we're talking about these things in this invisible tax and stuff like this, because we can't work with everybody. Our firm is not able to work with anybody. We're very selective who we choose as clients, and we want to help everybody at least be able to ask the questions and understand this stuff, because once everyone knows about something, we talked about insurance or protection, buying protection, right?
Yeah.
It's expensive. The house is already burned down, and you can't buy fire insurance, right? Once everybody knows about it. So that's what we want to bring this stuff up. We want to bring this stuff out. And so we believe in giving that advice in working with fiduciaries. It doesn't have to be us, but you have to know that you have a fiduciary that's bringing you ideas you haven't heard of, or that everyone's not talking about it. And if you want everything that everyone's talking about, then that's fine. You'll be average and you'll do the average stuff, and that's fine. But if you want to be above average, that's where you have to start talking to these fiduciaries, not only fiduciaries who can do what's in your best interest, but have the experience and the track record or the past knowledge and experience to help you work through these unprecedented times that we're in.
Right, exactly. And the passion. Boy, Daniel, you talk about passion. Look at that passion just flowing off of you, man. So that's exactly the case. We can't work with and for everybody. And that's not what this is about. This is about helping you to understand what you don't know, helping you, educating you so that you can ask the right questions. If you need to advise your advisor, you'll be able to do that because of some of these things here, or at least know what questions asked to see if he is or she is doing what's in your best interest or not. And that's what we're wanting to do. We're trying to educate the masses. That's why we have this radio show, this podcast, and this YouTube channel to be able to do that, where our goal is to reach tens of thousands of people with and educate tens of thousands of people per year. And so we're glad that you're listening to us and having this opportunity. So with that, one of the things that we'd like to be able to give you today to be able to help educate you more is the piece that goes along with today's show, signs that you're with the wrong financial advisor, so that you know how to choose, how to ask the right questions to be able to find the right financial advisor, whomever that may be. And along with that, we have the book, Tax Invisible, making sure that your money is growing tax invisible, so be able to not have to pay taxes on it, because the less taxes you pay, the more you're going to be able to have more purchasing power from that standpoint. That's going to help you with inflation. These things that we're talking about today, it's important to be able to stay ahead of inflation, ahead of taxation, and that's what we're hoping that you're going to be able to do from this. Listen, if you have a question for Daniel or myself, call us at 800-725-7616. We're glad to be able to converse with you off the air, or contact us at ajmi.com. The two words AgeMi, spell our last name of Ajmi, and through our website, we have a lot of interesting things on our website, and that you can also contact us and ask us a question through that website as well. That's ajmi.com, AGEMY.com. You can have that piece or the book if you're one of the next 5 callers at 800-725-7616 for that book, and the piece by calling Megan at 800-725-7616. All right. And we appreciate you joining us today, and we look forward to speaking with you next time at Financial Strategies with Andrew and Daniel Ajmi, because people don't know what people don't know.